program tonight, or this afternoon, can we get a round of applause for the Dulles Airport Marriott staff and for their excellent student service? To get us started on the program, I would like to introduce Henry Bird, who is going to say a few words about United and then introduce today's guest speaker. Speaking of United, let's give a big thanks to United for their fabulous donation of our first class business travel certificates and all they do for the Committee for Dulles. Thank you guys. Now back to Henry, who was born in New Jersey, where he attended Stockton University and rode on their lightweight crew team. While attending college, he began his aviation career with Signature Flight Support. Is Signature here today? They're usually here. Signature. Not today. And then Spirit Airlines. Spirit here today. No. They should be Committee for Dulles members and here more actively. You guys know them, recruit them. Before finding his post-college job with United Airlines. Over the course of his career at United, he has led just about everything the airline does. 10 of his first 12 years was right here at United at IAD. He did cargo, United Express, and Hub Financial teams. Then they sent him out west to Denver, where he was the station operator, did station operations control, ramp tower, ground equipment, building maintenance, mountain region teams, and that's what he did when he was in Denver. Now he is back at Dulles, and he is highly focused on supporting his team, developing leaders, and creating an environment for individuals and organizations. Come on up, Henry. Woo!
Well, thank you very much. As mentioned, I'm Henry Bird. I'm the United Airlines Managing Director for our Washington Dulles Hub. And on behalf of the 8,000 employees that call this region home and work for United, leading approximately 300 flights a day to over 100 destinations, thank you very much for all your partnership and your collaboration. Thank you absolutely to the Committee for Dulles for hosting this wonderful luncheon where I see so many colleagues. What a great day to get together and spend some time and learn about what's going on in the future. Time to celebrate. I believe MWAA announced a passenger record just last week. United Airlines is very happy to be part of those types of announcements and help contribute to it. And nicely enough, there seems to be more and more of those these days. So what a wonderful time to be here in Dulles. Now, when you think about Washington Dulles Airport, nothing happens without, again, collaboration and partnership. Whether it be at the federal, whether it be at the state or the local level, whether it be private organizations, we come together to make the better sum of the parts, right? And what a bright future that we have. Now, when you think about that kind of collaboration and partnership, we also have MWAA, of course, right? And with MWAA, that partnership doesn't happen without intention and without leadership. And that's where, Vice President and Director of Operations for Dulles, Airport Manager, Richard Golinowski comes into play. Truly a Renaissance leader, product of Virginia Tech, I believe. An engineer by trade. He's had more than a few engineering roles, but he's also been, I believe you drove a snowplow at one point in your career early on. Had the august opportunity to receive the incredible Lego set that the airport's had. As well as doing some amazing work leading us into the future, helping design that path forward. When you think about, Richard, some of you may be wondering, how did I get selected to introduce Richard? I'm not sure if you realized it, but there was a competition. They pulled his cell phone records, and they looked at his cell phone records, and they determined who called Richard the most after hours outside of MWAA personnel and his family, and I was the winner. So, very proud to be there. But again, Richard truly is a Renaissance leader, and we are very, very appreciative of that partnership. You know, our teams work so hand in hand, and his engagement throughout the airport really sets a standard. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce an industry and aviation professional and my friend, Richard Golinowski.
Thank you, Henry. Appreciate it. And I will tell you that when they looked at my phone, it just said who I received the call from. It didn't say which call I answered.
I left that out.
Yeah, try not to answer these calls. No, he's a great guy. Really is. And we do have a fantastic partnership with United. Wonderful partner globally, wonderful partner locally, and wonderful partner on a day-to-day basis. We don't get anything done at the airport, at Dulles Airport, without United. They also have a good representation at National Airport as well. But I do remind everybody that United, although 70% of our business, they're one of 52. And we have 51 other airlines that we like to take care of as well. So thank you, very much, appreciate it. So today, I'm going to spend a few minutes, hopefully brief, so I don't keep you guys away from your busy days, to talk about where we're going with Dulles Airport. Incredible airport, always has been for 64 years now, and we have a plan to move forward for another 64 years. And we believe that the plan makes a lot of sense. The plan does not have a huge impact on the day-to-day operations, and the plan ultimately will benefit our customers. But as you know, a lot has happened over the past couple months. It seems like we're in the news every day for various reasons, and that's okay, right? Like I said, we have this plan. We've been putting this master plan together for a long time. We've been putting our designs together for a long time, and we always welcome the opportunity to improve what we do. And if there are things that people have new ideas about, heck yeah, we'll take them. If it can make the airport better for everybody in this room and for our customers and for the region, we certainly will. So as with any presentation, I like to start with a little bit of a story and tell you how we got where we are. Back in 1962, November 17th, President Kennedy had the original Opening Day ceremonies, and then immediately afterwards shut the airport down. And we were closed for 2 days because there were no flights coming into Dulles Airport. That's where we started. First flight was Eastern, I believe, Eastern Airlines up to Newark, 2 days later on the 19th. But the foundation was there to have an airport that has tremendous impact on the region and on the aviation system. We have 12,000 acres, and one of our founding fathers of the authority, Jim Wiley, he was actually a civil engineer with the FAA at the time. He laid out this airport. He was out here walking through the forest, laying this airport out. So where are we today? Like Henry said, over 29 million passengers. And we just barely broke the 29 million mark. If you had asked me this last week, I would have said 28.5. But we just announced the 29 million number for 2025. Just to give you some idea, we have 92 loading bridges. Ultimately, we're going to go to 200 something. And that number is a little bit in flux, but that's what we're doing. With 139 parking positions. And I mentioned 52 airlines. This has grown tremendously from where we started back in 1962, and even since I started. I think we had 32 airlines when I started 4 or 5 years ago, and now we're up to 52. A lot of that credit goes to our airline business development folks, because they were able to get other airlines in here, but also goes, a lot of credit goes to United, because they're growing, and with their growth, other airlines saw an opportunity to come to the airport. So we're really excited about this. We're really excited about our growth. So what's the actual impact of Dulles Airport on the region or on the state? Just to give you an idea, this study was released not too long ago by Virginia Economic Development Team, and you can see that we are the top airport as far as gross state product. $11 billion. This airport pumps into the state and the Commonwealth's economy. Pretty impactful. And we are one of 9 large airports, but one of 65 across the state. All of these airports, these 65 airports are pumping money into the economy, and we're very proud to be part of that. And together with National Airport, I think it's close to $20 billion. So the airport system between Dulles and National is a vital part of the Virginia economy. So what's our mission? Our mission is to be the best. That's it. At the end of the day, our mission is to be the best airport we can possibly be. And that's what our focus is every single day of the year. And that's what our guys, my team, works on to make sure that we stay laser focused on that mission of being the best. And I believe, to a large extent, we have it. And we're always ranked in the top tier of airports across the country. So I talked about where we started, and if you look here, you can see our growth from 1962 when we opened to today. And you can see that spike in the 2005 area, and that was when we had Independence Air, and then they summarily folded. And you can see a little bit of a dip, and we sort of leveled out, and then the dreaded COVID hit us and dropped down in 2020. But you can see if you draw a straight line from 62 up to the 29 million passengers we have now, you can see that's pretty impressive growth. And I think everybody in this room, as well as our airline partners, contribute to that growth, and we're really pleased to have those partnerships. So let's get to what a master plan really is, just to sort of level set everybody on this. It's our attempt to try and project what we think is going to happen in the future. And we're taking a lot of information from all different parties, whether it's the airlines, whether it's the businesses that surround us, whether it's our partners, taking in all information, saying, okay, here's where we think we need to be for a master plan. And it's rather a tedious process to get through this. And you can see here that the stages of master plans. We had the original master plan in 62, and then we had one in 85, and then we had some studies in between. Ultimately ended up with this 2025 master plan. Our plan for now, this master plan is to get to 45 million passengers. That's what we are designing for. That's what we're planning on. That's what we're working with all our partners on. Ultimately, though, is to get to 90 million passengers. So you can start to see this 45 million is probably in 2045. You can start to see when we start looking out ahead, what do we need to do? What kind of foundation do we need to put together to get to 90 million passengers? It's not just building an airport for 45 and being done. It's making sure that we don't landlock ourselves and prevent further or future growth going in. So I think this one. So this is just sort of the steps for this recent master plan, how we got here, starting in the late teens of 2019 or so, 2020, starting that master plan. It slowed down a little bit because of COVID, then it picked back up, and ultimately getting this done by 2025. Lots of people reviewed it, not just people in this room, Loudoun County, Fairfax County, federal government. It's now with the NCPC. They're looking at it one last time to make sure that it all makes sense. So to sort of level set everybody, what I do and our team does is we look at the airport sort of in neighborhoods. So we start with the west end, or the western development piece of the airport. This is land to the left, or to the west of one left. This is areas that can be developed for various reasons. Right now we have Sky Harbor getting ready to break ground on a project site out there. But that whole strip there that you see in purple can be expanded for future aviation development. Then we move to the blue neighborhood, what I call the north landside mixed use area. This is everything in front of the main terminal or in front of the parking lot going north. It's that area sort of in between. And this area is a neighborhood that can be developed as well for non-aviation purposes. Then you have the green area, which is the terminal development area. So this is where the concourses are, this is where the ramps are, this is where the taxi lanes are. This is sort of the beginning of the aviation base. Down to the south, we have the south development area. This is sometimes referred to, or I refer to it as a horseshoe area. It's in between one right and one center and 1230. And it's that area that's sort of ripe for development. And what we do with that is sort of part of the master plan. And then the last neighborhood that we talk about is the fifth runway. Right now that area is cut away for the fifth runway. It's going to be designed as part of this use and lease agreement. And if you see those little, I don't know what color it is on the screen, but sort of those purple blocks, those blobs, that's where the solar farm is that Dominion has put in. That should be coming online this May. So those are sort of the neighborhoods that we think about when we're looking at airport development and master plan. So some of the issues that we're trying to resolve or trying to correct, complaints from our customers done a lot of survey work, got a lot of input. And you can see here, this is on the land side of the business. Things like the bag system. It takes too long to walk to the terminal. Concessions are not as good as they should be. There's a lot of congestion on the roads. And there's some others there you can see. So that's in a bucket that we're trying to say, okay, we got to solve these problems moving forward. On the air side, some of the experiences from the customers are the same. Concourse CD, not good. We know it, it's an old building. Long distances, especially for connections. We understand that. How do we correct that? Mobile lounges are bad, but then we also hear mobile lounges are great. So, we're trying to resolve that. Ultimately, mobile lounges started in 1962. Ultimately, we need to move away from the lounge operation and bring in the train operation more. But there's cost and there's obstacles for doing that. But that's all part of the plan. So when we look at the master plan and things that we're trying to fix, we want to make sure we're efficient. Moving through the building, moving through the airport, moving from Route 28 to the gate, how do we make all that as efficient as possible? You can see here, we have in the one picture on the right, you can see that one building, if you recognize it between main terminal and AB, that's main terminal connector. What does that do, people say? That just looks like another building. Well, what that does is it makes it easier for our international folks coming in that they can just now walk through customs. So they get off their gate, they go through sterile corridor, and they walk through customs. You can see on the left, this is a rendering from Tier 2 that we're building now, and you can see that elevated walkway, that's a sterile corridor above the common walkway of the concourse. So that makes it easier for our customers, it's more open, there's not a feeling of you're walking through a tunnel, but you're able to get down to the customs operation much more efficiently. So this is what we're trying to do as far as efficiency. Then we want to make sure that we are as diversified as possible on the revenue front to make sure that we are taking advantage of sort of a non-typical, the atypical passenger business, things like cargo. What do we do with cargo? And you remember my neighborhood down at the bottom, right? That area, that horseshoe area, will ultimately be developed for cargo. So can we move this cargo operation from the north end of the airport down to the south end of the airport? And then you see there on the right, that's the north airside development area, or north development area outside of the airside. That's what we envision that area is going to look like over the coming years. Again, we're trying to make sure that we have non-traditional airline or non-traditional revenue coming in to feed the business of the airport. Then we go to make sure we're resilient. And this is things like our utility systems, making sure that we have the best utility systems that we can, making sure that they're efficient, making sure that they're there for the long term, so that as we expand, our utility systems can meet the needs of the new buildings. And then you look there on the right and you look at some of the new technology coming out with baggage systems. That's one of the big complaints that we're getting now from our customers. Baggage is not a very efficient process for operation at the airport. So how do we improve that? So we're looking at new technology to try and speed the process of getting bags from the plane back to the terminal or from the terminal to the plane for both for the customer as well as for the airlines. The other thing we're looking at is things like our stormwater system. It's a big deal here in this area, right? Making sure that our stormwater is managed and in such a way that we maintain the viability of our storm systems. So we're putting a lot of time and effort in trying to make sure that our storm discharges are managed properly. Or our sanitary systems. We're in the process of upgrading all our sanitary lines leaving the airport. And you might have heard, I'm sure you did recently, there's a big sewage line break in Maryland on the Potomac Interceptor line. Well, a lot of that sewage is coming from this airport. We feed that Potomac Interceptor line, and it goes up, crosses the river, and goes down to the plains. So we want to make sure that our systems are as strong as they can be moving forward. And then we want to make sure that we're as flexible as we can be. So one of the beauties of the new gates that we have is that they're called Mars gates, where you can put multiple types of aircrafts on the gate at any given time. So today, what happens is we have to put a new plane on a gate. It's a process to get our engineers and our ops guys out there is take a look at the gate, make sure everything lays out right, make sure the markings are right, make sure the gates go up and down, or the jet bridges go up and down properly, make sure it meets with the plane. So now we'll be able to do that a lot easier with these new Mars gates. And that's going to be the standard for all gates moving forward. Then on the terminal side, you look at the common use systems that we're introducing into the airport to try and make it easier for people coming into the airport and try and get them out through getting them out to the plane, how we introduce this technology into what they're doing. So making sure that as we add new airlines, whether it's United or United Prime or United Double Prime, as we add these new airlines, they can come in and seamlessly get into the system and get into the operation. Because right now it takes a little effort, it's not impossible, but it takes a little effort to get new carriers onto our systems or into our airport. We're also introducing, a lot of this is more self-serve. So I'm not a young guy anymore. It took me a while to get used to the phone, the mobile apps. United mobile app's a really good app. It's helped me get through the whole process. But there were still some people, I was in a meeting the other day, and there was this 20-something kid that I asked about using the app, and he said, oh no, I only do paper. I said, you're kidding. He goes, no, I only do paper, I don't trust the app. And I thought that was funny because I'm here saying I have no problem with the app. This is a good guy. It's 20-something, I said, I don't trust the app. It was odd to hear that. And then we want to make sure that we're very balanced in how we do things. So making sure that our baggage systems, whether we're introducing new systems or new types of baggage systems, making sure that we can flex with the people that are coming in. So today, if you're familiar with Dulles Airport, you have our kiosks 1, 2, 3, and 4, and United operates kiosk 4. The other 3 kiosks are independent of each other, and the baggage systems are not connected. So you can't go to one kiosk and then drop your bags and get it to your plane. You have to go to a specific kiosk. So what we're trying to do is make sure that our systems are very flexible, so everything is interconnected, and you can get there no matter where you go. And then you see in the picture on the right, parking opportunities. So we're looking at the bowl, and you can see there's a garage built there. And our plan is to build a garage. How big that garage is going to be is yet to be determined, but we're going to build that garage and make it easier for our customers to get into the building. Because one of the complaints we have is that it takes way too long to get from the economy lot or from an existing garage into the building. And this new garage will help us get there. Then we want to make sure that we're integrated with the region. Whether it's the traveling public, it's a big international environment around here, people coming in, and we want to make sure that our airport can handle the influx of the international customers. And then we want to make sure that they can actually get to the airport, and that's the roadway development piece. And we're spending a lot of time and effort trying to make sure that our roads can handle the growth coming into the airport. And I think Rob Whitfield is here. He's going to ask a question in a little bit about the roads and how we make the roads better. Then we want to make sure we're as modern as possible. Upgrading all our old facilities, introducing new concessions, and enhancing our security screening processes. This is ongoing now. At the new concourse, we are adding 17 new concessions. At our old facilities, we are adding, I think this year we're adding 10 or replacing 10 concessions this year. So there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to try and make the airport better for our customers today. We just had a meeting with TSA this morning about different opportunities we can take with our security system, our security screening, to try and improve the security screening process moving forward today. And then accessibility. We want to make sure that our train system works. We want to make sure that if we need mobile lounges, they are working properly, which they are, and we want to make sure that that we can eventually get rid of them or move on from the mobile lounges. So as we build out these parts of the facility, we can make sure that we enhance the train system and we reduce the reliance on our mobile lounges. So let's get down to how we get there. Here's where we are today. You can see in 2026, we're building Tier 2 Concourse E down there on the left. That's scheduled to open on September 30th with 14 narrow body gates and 7 wide body gates, or 7 wide body gates. And then immediately after that, we're going to start on phase 2 of Tier 2. So that'll be the center section. You can see there sort of on the left And I'll get into some more details there on how we're going to do that. But something that we need to remember too is that there are pieces of the airport that we refer to as being fixed by function. No matter what you do, you can't move them. So one of those things is the runways. You're not going to move the runways. Another thing is the main terminal building. I'm not going to move the main terminal building. The fuel farm. I'm not going to move the fuel farm. And then the metro. Metro's not going to be moved. So we have to build around that. No matter what we do, we have to make sure that we adjust our plan to incorporate those fixed by function pieces of our property. So here's phase one. I told you it opens up in September 30th this year with a lot of new concessions, better hold rooms, better public access, and easy access from the train system onto the concourse. The next, right after that, is phase 2 and 3, which is concourse E and F continued, and that's moving west further. And that's going to have a new FIS building in there so that the connecting passengers from United can walk through the sterile corridors, get through the FIS, and then come back to the gates on this side of security so that they can get onto their plane and move forward. So we think this is going to be a big improvement for our connecting passengers. Immediately following that, as of right now, our plan is to go to phase 4, at least on paper it looks like it is. So we're going to figure out how to get to phase 4. But I want to caution you on some of these phases, when it happens may change a little bit over the next several months or years. Going back, you look at phase 2 and 3 in the middle, that's sort of cast in stone right now. Phase 1 is under construction right now. Phase 4, when that happens, we're still working on that on the schedule, but that will happen at some point. Again, phase 4 will build out the entire tier 2. Ultimately, again, not knowing when phasing is going to happen, we're going to go to phase 3, tier 3, I should say, which is the lowermost gates that we can have, or the lowest southernmost concourse that we can have. And that will be built in multiple phases for probably another 50 or so gates. And at some point, we're going to have to start addressing the CD concourse. I mentioned this is one of our pain points early on from our customers. How do we move forward, or how do we move past CD? So this, at some point, that'll be our first demolition phase, the D gates. And that will enable us to start extending, you can see there in the dotted line, extending the train further south on the west side of the airport. And that's a key to our expansion for our customers. And then Concourse A, we have all those regional gates there, United regional gates. Those are going to be converted to full contact Mars gates. Again, when that happens, I'm not so sure. We're working on that phasing sequence. But that'll give the AB concourse more capacity for international customers and international carriers. And you can see here in this picture, I think we start to show the connector, that AB connector. And then the later phases are going to include the extension of Tier 3 all the way across, with a train extension that goes all the way south. And instead of the candy cane that we have now for the train, we're going to have a full U, maybe an oval, but at least a full U that gets somebody on the train to all the gates. And that's the ultimate goal. And then ultimately, we'll get the complete demolition of CD. And that opens up that whole center area between the AB concourse and the new Tier 2 or the EF gates. And we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with that center section, whether it becomes hard stand or whether it becomes new facilities. That opens up a wide mass of concrete for the airport. So you start to see how everything sort of fits together, and the time frame that it gets done, still unknown, at least 10 to 15 years, maybe a little bit sooner, depending on what happens over the next few months. We're trying to accelerate as much as possible. We look forward to input from any of our partners, whether it's the federal government or airlines or anybody in this room. If they can help us make this better, make it faster, we're certainly on board with doing that. So I go back to my neighborhoods. Remember the Western Development Zone, the North Landside Mixed Use Area, the Terminal Development Area, the South Side Mixed Use Area, and the runway, the 5th runway. We need that 5th runway for the growth, whether it's the 45 million passengers or the 90 million passengers. We need that runway in order to make sure that we can have throughput for all of our customers. So we're working very hard to get this done. We believe that at the end of the day, our mission is to be the best airport we can be. And my team is laser focused on getting through the construction over the next few years. And ultimately, I believe the airport will look something like this. There may be tweaks, and that's okay. There may be slight modifications, but at the end of the day, these neighborhoods are there, and they're sort of fixed by function, the way that we have the whole airport set up. I have a team that's incredibly dedicated to the success of this airport. We have great leadership from our board of directors and from Jack Potter. We have a lot of good ideas that are coming to us from various people. And that's all good. We welcome ideas. We welcome opportunities to improve our operation. Again, I go back to our mission. At the end of the day, our mission is to be the best airport in the country. Our focus is on our customers, and our goal is to continue to be that strong economic engine that not only the Commonwealth needs, but the entire country needs. Thank you very much. I think I can take a few questions if anybody has.
Any questions?
Wow.
I got one here. In the news recently, the new administration, not the new administration, the executive administration has been involved in this process a little bit. It seems like they're getting involved. What is their impact? Are they going to have an impact financially, schedule-wise, or design-wise?
Yeah, I don't know about financially. I can't speak to that. All I know is that we have been working very closely with the Department of Transportation, the administration, just like we do with Fairfax County and Loudoun County and everybody in this room. We are very open to ideas. If there are ideas that help accelerate this process of redevelopment, we're all on board, right? We, like I said, I go back to our mission, to be the best airport we can be and to take care of our customers. Personally, as an engineer, the sooner we can get something done, the better. But there are impacts, right? We don't want to mess up United's operation. We don't want to mess up the other 51 airlines operations. So are there things that we can do to change the schedule to minimize impact and still get us to that final point? Absolutely. But again, to your point about the finances, no idea. And we are open to any idea, any suggestion that'll make this airport better than what it is today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we have one.
Thank you. What proportion of present passenger movements at Dulles are connecting flights versus, in other words, what portion of the 29 million start or end their flights at Dulles versus transiting to another plane? And what do you see the international share being from now to the next 80 years?
So the ratio, Rob, is on the international to domestic is about 40-60, 40 international, 60. I don't see that ratio changing. I just see the number growing. And as far as connecting with United, it varies 50-50. It's about 50-50 connecting versus OMD. So I don't see that ratio changing necessarily, just the numbers increasing.
Yeah, another one here.
Hi, has the issue with the customs hall been looked at? Because as you come in, like, I have a trusted traveller program, but
Yeah.
as you watch people, especially foreigners coming into the country, maybe their first impression of the USA, it's not a good one.
Yeah, no, I hear you. We've been working very closely with Customs. Christine Laws, our port director, wonderful leader down in the Customs area. She has been able to up staff recently, and she's got more Customs officers on the floor. And despite what's going on, there was a recent shutdown with Global Entry, but they have introduced a lot of new technology into their clearance operations. So we are processing people through the customs check piece quicker than we used to, and now we're actually seeing a pinch point or a pain point on the baggage side. Pick up the baggage side. So short answer is they're increasing staff, and they're always looking at new technology.
What about the traffic congestion coming into the airport? It's a mess. Someday I had to wait about an hour to get in.
especially around 4 o'clock on a Thursday. It's the worst, yeah. And this is one of the things I talked about in one of the slides, figuring out how to move traffic more efficiently in front of the terminal. So we have a consultant on board now and work groups trying to figure out how do we change the flow of traffic coming onto the airport. But again, remember what I said about fixed by function. That metro line is fixed by function. And we can't move that, and that impacts how we realign the roads. The other thing that's going to help that, I think, ultimately, is if we can move cargo to the south end of the airport. So we get all that truck traffic that's supporting cargo down to the south end of the airport. And that frees up road capacity up front. So it is a big focus. In fact, we were on a call this morning with our CEO, Jack Potter, about it. And he says we really need to think about the roads before we do anything else, especially at 4 o'clock on Thursday.
You talked about passenger experience being the best. You mentioned for a little bit the non-aeronautical section of the airport master plan. What is your vision for that? What the beautiful picture, but what is all in that picture that you envision?
Yeah, so a couple things we're wrestling with, to be frank. Hotel capacity. Here, this is an older hotel, so we're trying to figure out what to do with this. And do we need more hotel capacity on the airport? There are a lot of hotels around us, but it isn't enough. So we're trying to figure out what the balance is for hotels. The other piece of it is office building and whether or not we need to build offices on this airport. There's land to do that, but is there demand? I drive around here and I see a lot of see-through buildings. So I don't see that there being a demand for office space. So the other thing is just general things like rental cars, right? How do we deal with the rental car operation, and are they situated in the best spot for both the rental cars and for the customer? So we're looking at what changes we should be making for the rental car operation as well. In addition to that, FBOs, fixed base operators, we have Atlantic up at the north end, and we have Signature off to the east a little bit. And we're looking at, does that make sense long term? Does that make sense for the FBO operation, or should they be moved as well? There's this big chunk of land here, 35 acres from Aviation Drive up to Road Road that this hotel sits on. And we're trying to figure out, okay, does it make a lot of sense to just have a small hotel? Or should this be developed long-term for something bigger, some type of entertainment center that would attract people to the airport, to the region? So there are different things we're looking at. We don't want to, again, I go back to our mission, to be the best airport we can be. It's not to be a competitor for hotels off airport or for businesses off airport, right? So we want to make sure that we're using our property to enhance the customer opportunities here in the airport, customer experience.
I have a quick question here. Sorry. So the president's idea for a new main terminal and other maybe ideas for the airport, how is that going to happen, and is that being layered into this plan, or how is that kind of being integrated?
Yeah, good question. So again, I go back to what I said before. We're taking ideas from everybody, and there are opportunities for incorporating these ideas into our plan. But then I want to emphasize again, it's to be the best airport we can be. So if there's an idea to build a new entrance into the airport that enhances the customer experience, absolutely, we'll do it. But we got to balance everything, the current operations, and making sure that we can build it without, crushing our tenants like United Airlines.
Peter?
Can you speak briefly? I don't want to, sure there's a lot more to get to. Just on the human capital requirements, your expectations, concerns at all about the human capital, skilled labor across all sorts of different disciplines here locally to achieve these ambitious plans?
Yeah. So just to give you an idea, I have about 600 people that work for me. There are about 34,000 people that work directly at the airport, and on the chart from Virginia Economic Development folks, about 94,000 jobs tied to the airport one way or another. So we are very concerned about human capital. We are very concerned about things like how do we get people here to do the work. We are very concerned about skill sets. How do we get the skill set we need to take care of our lights and take care of our plumbing and operate ramp control and all that. We're concerned about creating an environment around here that's economically viable for the labor force, right? It's expensive around here to live, right? Everybody knows that. So how do you create this environment around this airport that entices people to come here so they can work here? I know of a lot of people that have 2 or 3 jobs at the airport. They'll work on our custodial staff in the morning, they'll work at a restaurant in the afternoon, they'll work baggage handling in the evening, right? It's tough. We have people coming from Maryland, Southern Maryland, and thankfully Metro we have, because people are taking Metro into the airport, and that's helped. So human capital is a big deal. We are setting up internally multiple types of training programs so that we can get young kids into the system, get them trained up, and get them moving towards working full-time at the airport. But it is a challenge, no question about it. Yeah, thank you.
Speaking of jobs, we have the Dulles Airport Job Fair March 26th from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So if you need a new career or just a regular job, come and join us.
Definitely, thank you, Scott. It's just to get to know your many friends. Richard, thank you so much. We met just before Christmas, and I'm so inspired to see, given the enormous progress you're making in us.
Very sorry about loss of your mother too, but
yeah, thank you so much. I love what you say about making sure that the airport is the best. That's incredible vision, and I also really love that you said that you're very open for suggestions. So I do work with a lot of foreign investors and a lot of foreign diplomats. So already reach out to some of them, and they truly want to help. So if you can just share a little bit more specifics, what will be like the top 3 priorities they can focus on, so we can start getting some amazing things done. I would love that, and I think we'll do amazing things together by joining forces. Thank you.
good. So thank you. So I mentioned this area. There's 35 acres of development up here. I mentioned the north development area. South area of the airport, we're trying to put a plan together to develop that south area. So those are areas that are ripe for investment. I mentioned the bowl, the parking garage. That's another area that we are potentially looking for investors for. So there are various pieces, and you'll be seeing those sort of unfold over the next couple weeks, couple months, and we'll get more information out on that. But I think there are going to be a lot of opportunities for people to come in and take a piece, not take a piece, but be a part of the airport as we develop over the next decade or 2 decades. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we need to move on because we
All right,
have a lot of gifts to give away today.
Thank you all.
Richard, thank you very much.